I think one of the hardest things about creating an academy like Blue Man Academy and trying to give kids the best education, like do what's just right for them, give them the best education, is trying to convince parents or educate parents on why we do things the way that we do it. They have this preconceived notion of education that comes, from the public school system, and then it comes from the media, and then a lot of it's shaped by capitalism and what the capitalists are selling and promoting and marketing and things like that. So they'll come to Blue Man Academy, and instead of reading our books, the Raising Children for Greatness series, which I think it's over 1,000 pages, if you read the whole series, okay, but they're shorter books. Instead of reading those and kind of understanding what we're trying to do, they sign up for a 14-day trial. They go to the dashboard and they're like, wait, this does not look normal. Like, this does not look like public school. I don't understand it. Where are the grades? Where are the progress reports, the report cards? Um, what is mastery quizzes? They don't understand that. There's just a ton of things that they don't understand. So they just leave and then they're gone. And so we've always said, well, we have to balance it because, yeah, we want to do what's best for the student. But if the student doesn't get into the school because the parent doesn't understand it, then the student's not best for the student. So we're always juggling these things. But capitalism has corrupted education in the same way, not entirely, but in the same way that it's corrupted, like our food. For example, let's say you have a bunch of bread companies, and the goal is to make profit. Not necessarily to make the most healthy product, but to make profit. And so you have all these bread companies, and the bread tastes about the same. So one company says, you know what we could do to our bread? We'll turn it into cake, but the people won't know it. They'll think it's bread. We'll just dump tons of sugar into our bread. It'll taste so good. So the people will look at there, and they're not going to look at the ingredients. They're going to look at the price, and they're going to taste it, and they're going to love the taste of our bread. So they start doing that, and then the other companies, they start losing market share. So he's like, hey, what are they doing different? They find out, oh, they're putting sugar in the bread. So they go get their bread and their dough, and they just dump tons of sugar into it. Then the first company's like, oh, we've lost our competitive advantage. We should put more sugar into it, and we'll dye ours, and we'll do. And all of a sudden, it's like a race to the bottom as far as nutrition goes. Um, but the bread is looking and tasting better than ever. It's basically just cake. It's a cake sandwich. Um, I don't know. I'm not a baker. I don't know if that might be like a little bit apocryphal, but it seems like they put a lot of sugar into our foods, and it sells. It sells. People enjoy it. They like the taste. They like the look, the flavor, but it's not necessarily nutritious, which is the purpose of eating. I mean, it is about enjoying it, I guess, but mainly we want nutrition. Well, it's the same thing in education. We want something that is going to give our children a great education, but the capitalists have poured all sorts of sugar into it, and it's no longer pure education. It's not nutritious. And at Blue Man Academy, we want the original bread. We want the healthy bread. We want to give kids a great education. One example of this is the pictureless classics that we do. We've had parents complain sometimes when they leave. We will ask them on the way out, hey, like, why did you cancel your account, or why didn't you go on with the 14-day trial? Very rarely will they say anything back, but sometimes they do give us tidbits. And one time a mom was like, well, your books are just so boring. I'm like, well, what do you mean? Like, boring? These are the classics. These are the greatest books ever written. What are you talking about? And she said that, there just weren't any pictures. And this is totally capitalism. Okay. So you have a lot of these books. They're great books. They're in the public domain. And, before I go any farther, let me just tell you, I love illustrations in books. I do them. I'm an author and an illustrator. These are my books. Okay, I just want to show you that I believe in it. Okay. I love art. Okay. I love picture books for kids. This is Dino Hunt. So I'm a big fan, but these are different types of books. Okay. These are for children. It's kind of quasi educational. Part of it's just for fun, kids at young age. But if eventually they have to get into their actual education. But the capitalists come along, and a lot of these books are in the public domain. So you take a book like War and Peace or Tale of Two Cities. These are excellent books written by some of the greatest authors in the history of the world. Like, nobody's really rivaled these authors in hundreds of years. And they're in the public domain, so anybody can access them. You could access them free online. Any publishing house can publish them. There's no way to make them better. It's all the same words. I mean, maybe War and Peace, you could claim you have a better translation, but you get to Charles Dickens, it's in English already. There's not a lot you can do to make it better. So the capitalists are like, hey, what if we put pictures in there? We'll hire the best illustrators with our money, and we'll put pictures throughout the book. And so they started doing this. They're putting pictures at the top of every chapter. This is really horrible. This is a horrible idea. This is like dumping a ton of sugar into bread for your children. And what happens is it just ruins the literature. So just like with food, you have to eat your vegetables, and then you get the benefit at the end. You get nutrition. You feel good. Well, the purpose of books, you're supposed to be reading them. You're developing your vocabulary. You're reading comprehension, and the goal, the payoff, is the story. And you get to the end, and you get the story. Right? That's the payoff. Kids don't have to do that anymore because there's pictures at every chapter, even in these chapter books. So you can just flip through and literally look at every picture and say, "Oh yeah, the prince saves the princess." Psh, done. Oh, they killed the dragon. I saw that on chapter 32. The story's totally ruined. A lot of the payoff is the twist at the end of the story. You don't know, especially traditionally before Disney and it was all happily ever after. You didn't know if you were reading necessarily a tragedy or a comedy. You didn't know if it was going to be a happy ending or not. Sometimes they weren't happy endings, but you had to read through the whole book. You had to understand it. You had to develop your vocabulary so you could know what was going on. And then you did have pictures, but they were in your mind. You created them from the words in your imagination. And this happens to people all the time that do read books without, pictures, and they have a certain image of that world, and then they go watch the movie and they're like, that is not it. That happened to me with not War and Peace, Gone with the Wind. I was horrified by that movie, and that was like one of the best-selling movies I think of all time. Was Gone with the Wind, and I read the book. I was like, that is not what happens. This is so bad. That's not what Scar looks like, because my mind had created, that world. So you're spoiling it with those pictures. You're ruining the story. But again, we could explain that to parents, and usually they'll get it once we explain it. No, it's not that we couldn't put pictures in our books. A lot of these pictures are so old now, too. They're in the public domain. We could add them, but we choose not to add them because we want your kids to have the payoff from reading, from laboring through the text. We want them to create that world in their imagination, and we don't want to spoil the book for them. Another thing that the capitalists have done, I think this is so horrible, is they've dumbed down a lot of classics. They'll give you like an abridged kids version of Great Expectations, and it's full of pictures. It's like a little picture book. Well, your kid's never actually going to read Charles Dickens now. What's the point? They know all the story. They know all the plots and everything. They've already imagined the world through the pictures. There's nothing left for them to create in their mind. So they're never actually going to read the real thing. It's like a forgery. It's horrible, but it sells. Everybody's like excited. Oh, my 4-year-old, he's reading Charles Dickens. But it's like in a little abridged, baby version. It sells. It sells. It's tempting at Blue Mary Academy. It would be tempting to do those things, to put these things in our academy. We'd probably get more members. People would be more excited about it. But it ended up being like ABC Mouse or something, where the kids are excited to do it every day because it's all sugar. It's not real education. Education isn't super fun and easy all the time, but it's rewarding when it's authentic, when you have to work your way through the real thing. So anyway, that's why we don't have pictures in all of our novels. We even debated the covers. I decided, okay, fine, I'll compromise. I'll try to give you a cover that doesn't ruin the plot, doesn't ruin the story, doesn't destroy your imagination. I'll give you some sort of cover to just kind of like tempt the kids into the books. And sometimes the cover doesn't even make sense to the book. And the kids know that, they after they read a few books, they're like, wait a second, what was that cover about? Because I don't want to ruin the plot, but I'll put some sort of picture to like tempt you into the story, but then you have to read the story, and I want you to enjoy it and create, the world in your imagination. And I want you to get to the end and be shocked by the ending and surprised. And I want you to contemplate that for the rest of your life. Some of these stories are so good. And I want you to develop your vocabulary. And this will also, reading, helps with writing. If you actually read it, it's not always about the story, it's about the words and the ideas and stuff, but you have to read it. You can't flip your way through the pictures. So that's why at Blue Matter Academy, a lot of our books don't have pictures. Now, again, I'm a children's book illustrator, so I do love pictures. Okay? They serve a purpose. This is Dino Hunt. I wrote and illustrated that book, but for earlier education. It's like putting a little bit of, would you put sugar on vegetables maybe to get the kids used to eating the vegetables, and then you slowly like remove the sugar? That's what we want to do. But the capitalists decided, hey, let's just keep putting it on forever. We'll just dump more and more and more sugar to the point you buy drinks like a Coke, and it's sugar. It's just sugar water. It's so bad for you. We're all sick. So anyway, all right, that's it. I'm rambling now, but that's why we don't have pictures in our novels.